The words hung in the air like smoke, curling and choking. The girls were right, Ethan. You're worse than my ex. Sarah's voice, usually soft as a summer breeze, sliced through the quiet of our kitchen, her eyes glinting with something I didn't recognize, disdain maybe, or pity. I stood frozen, my coffee mug halfway to my lips, the bitter steam rising like a warning. Worse than her ex? The man who'd left her crying in a dive bar parking lot, her mascara streaking like war paint? The accusation landed like a fist, and I didn't know whether to laugh or shatter the mug against the counter. Our home, a cozy split level we'd painted blue to match her eyes, felt alien in that moment. The hum of the fridge, the faint ticking of the clock above the sink, it all amplified the silence that followed her words. I set the mug down, the clink against the granite too loud. What girls, Sarah? My voice was steady, but my chest tightened, a coil winding tighter with every breath. She didn't answer, just turned to the window, her silhouette framed against the dawn's gray light. Her shoulders were stiff, her fingers twisting the hem of her cardigan, a nervous habit I'd once found endearing. I should have seen it coming. The late-night texts she'd dismiss as work stuff. The way she'd linger in the bathroom, her phone screen glowing through the crack under the door. The perfume she started wearing again, the one she hadn't touched since our dating days. I'd rationalized it all, new job, new stress, new routine. But standing there, her words echoing in my skull, I felt the ground shift beneath me. The girls. Who were they? And why did their judgment of me matter so much? Say something, I said, my voice rougher now, like gravel underfoot. She turned, her hazel eyes meeting mine, and for a moment, I saw the woman I'd married. Fierce, vulnerable mine. But then her lips pressed into a thin line, and she shook her head. I didn't mean to say it out loud, she whispered, almost to herself. But it's true. The kitchen blurred as my pulse roared in my ears. I wanted to grab her, shake her, demand answers. Instead, I sat at the table, the chair creaking under my weight. Tell me what's going on, Sarah. Now. My tone was calm, but inside, I was a storm, anger, hurt, and something darker swirling together. She hesitated, then slid into the chair across from me, her hands clasped like a child caught in a lie. It's not just one thing, she began, her voice low, deliberate. It's everything. The way you're always working, always distracted. The girls, my friends, they see it. They say you don't appreciate me, that you're cold. Like he was. Her ex again. The ghost who'd haunted our early years, the one I'd sworn I'd never resemble. I leaned forward, my knuckles whitening against the table's edge. And you believe them? I asked, my words sharp enough to cut. She flinched, but her gaze didn't waver. Sometimes, she said. Sometimes I do. The confession wasn't the betrayal, not yet. It was the seed, planted months ago, maybe years. I thought of her friends, the ones I'd never quite clicked with. Jess, with her sharp laugh and sharper opinions. Mia, who'd always seemed too interested in Sarah's life, her questions probing like a scalpel. I'd brushed them off as protective, maybe jealous. But now, their voices echoed in Sarah's words, and I wondered how long they'd been whispering in her ear. That night, I couldn't sleep. The bed felt too big, her side empty as she claimed a headache and retreated to the guest room. I stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our 5 years together. The late-night talks, her head on my chest. The way she'd laugh at my terrible puns, her eyes crinkling like crumpled paper. Had it all been a lie? Or had I missed something, some crack in the foundation I'd thought was solid? The next morning, I found her phone on the counter, unlocked, a rare oversight. My fingers hovered over it, guilt warring with curiosity. I'd never snooped before, never had reason to. But her words, those girls, gnawed at me like termites. I opened her messages, my heart pounding like a drum. The chat with Jess was at the top, a string of texts from last night. He's not like that, Sarah had written. He's just distant. Jess's reply, you deserve better, babe. You know who'd treat you right. My stomach churned. Below, a name I didn't expect, Mark. Her ex. I scrolled, each message a shard of glass. Mark had been texting her for weeks, maybe longer. I miss you, he'd written. I was a fool to let you go. Her replies were cautious at first, polite deflections. But then a shift. I miss you too, she'd typed 3 days ago. Ethan's not the same anymore. My vision blurred, not from tears but from rage, raw and searing. I set the phone down, my hands shaking, and when Sarah walked in, her eyes widened at the sight of me. "You're talking to him," I said, not a question. Her face crumpled, but she didn't deny it. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice trembling. "He reached out and I didn't know how to handle it." I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the quiet. "Didn't know how to handle it? You told him you miss him, Sarah. You told your friends I'm worse than him." She stepped closer, her hands outstretched, but I backed away. "I didn't mean it like that," she said, tears welling. "I was just confused. They kept saying you're not good for me, and I started to wonder." "Wonder what?" I snapped. "If you made a mistake marrying me?" She didn't answer, and that silence was louder than any confession. I grabbed my keys and left, the door slamming behind me. The world outside was too bright, too normal. Kids on bikes, neighbors watering lawns. I drove aimlessly, the radio off, my thoughts a tangled mess. Betrayal wasn't just her text to Mark. It was her doubt, her willingness to let others rewrite our story. Hours later, I returned. The house was dark, Sarah's car gone. On the kitchen table a note. "I need time. I'm sorry." My chest ached, not with sadness but with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. I'd spent our marriage trying to be better than her ex, better than her fears. But maybe she'd never seen me, not really. I pulled out my phone, opened her chat with Mark, and typed from her account. "Meet me tomorrow. 7 p.m. at the pier." I hit send, my pulse steady now. The pier was cold, the wind sharp off the water. Mark arrived first, his leather jacket and smug grin unchanged from the photos Sarah had once shown me. I stepped from the shadows, my hands in my pockets. His smile faltered. "Where's Sarah?" he asked. I didn't answer, just stared until he shifted, uneasy. "You think you can swoop back in?" I said, my voice low, dangerous. "You think you're better than me?" He opened his mouth, but I didn't let him speak. I didn't need to fight, didn't need to yell. I'd already proven my point. Sarah's betrayal wasn't just hers. It was mine too, for ignoring the signs, for thinking love could blind her to her own doubts. I walked away, leaving Mark alone on the pier, the waves crashing below. Sarah would come home eventually, and I'd be waiting. Not to forgive, not to fight, but to show her just how much worse I could be, by letting her go.